All right, good afternoon and welcome to the August meeting of the Traffic Committee. We'll go ahead and start off with introductions from the committee members.
Mike Lloyd, Acting City Engineer.
Mike Cressa, Public Works Superintendent.
Miriam Machado, Associate Planner.
All right, and I'm Brian Cervantes. I'll be moderating the meeting with engineering.
And Jana Robbins, I'll be presenting or answering questions.
Alrighty, we'll go ahead and jump to our second item, which is the Traffic Committee items taken to the previous Traffic Committee meeting. The three items that went to last meeting was the traffic review of Montezuma Way and Citrus Street, the traffic review of South Nelson Street and Fairgrove Avenue, then the traffic review of South Walnut Avenue between East Vine Avenue and Francisquito Avenue. And it should be noted that the traffic review of South Nelson Street and Fairgrove Avenue was brought back to this meeting with some additional improvements recommended. So now our third item will be new traffic committee items, and the first one will be the traffic review of 150 South Grand Avenue. And for this request, the fire department requested the installation of red curb near the senior assisted living facility, Regency Grand, located at 150 South Grand Avenue. Staff reported that fire department receives frequent 911 calls from residents in the facility, and upon arrival, emergency vehicles have a difficult time finding available parking. And as a result, emergency vehicles are pushed to double park on South Grand Avenue, creating traffic obstructions and safety concern. The fire department requested the installation of red curb north of the existing driveway for the facility. For the existing condition, South Grand Avenue is a posted 40-mile-per-hour speed limit road. South Grand Avenue is an other principal arterial road per the California Road Systems map. South Grand Avenue is 92 feet in width with 2 through lanes in the northbound direction and 2 through lanes, 1 left turn lane and 1 right turn lane in the southbound direction at the location. Additionally, parking is allowed on the east side of South Grand Avenue at this location. As part of the review, collision data was obtained from the statewide integrated traffic record system, also known as SWITRS, over approximately a 3.5-year period between January of 2022 through July of 2025. From this review, it was found that there was 4 collisions reported to the state at this location, or 5 collisions reported. Additionally, a site visit was conducted on Friday, July 25th of 2025. And based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines and guidelines found in the California Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, or CAM-UTCD, and California Vehicle Code, or CVC, 150 South Grand Avenue qualifies for additional red curb. This improvement would reserve space for emergency vehicles to park on South Grand Avenue and facilitate access. And the recommendations are to install approximately 65 feet of red curb on the east side of South Grand Avenue, north of the existing driveway located at 150 South Grand Avenue. And the second recommendation is to remove and replace the damaged signal head warning sign located on the east side of South Grand Avenue. I don't believe we have any comments from audience members on this item. Are there any comments from committee members? Alrighty, we can go ahead and move to...
I have a question. Will this be, the red curb will go through the contract system, or will it be Public Works? Because it's red curb. And replacing and remove and replace the faded signal. Do we know?
The direction from the city prior was red curb as well as replacement of existing signage would go through Public Works.
Then it will go through Public Works.
Okay. Alrighty. Any other questions or comments? All right, we can go ahead and go to a vote on this item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, item passes 3-0. So we'll go ahead and hop into our next item, which is the traffic review of South Nelson Street and Fairgrove Avenue. So for this request did come to the traffic committee last month for review and consideration. The resident reported that they had difficulty seeing line of sight when they were exiting South Nelson Street onto Fairgrove Avenue. So for the existing conditions for this location, Nelson Street is a 25-mile-per-hour prima facie speed limit street, and Fairgrove Avenue has a posted 35-mile-per-hour speed limit. Along South Nelson Street, there is a stop sign for northbound travel, and there is no stop along Fairgrove Avenue in the eastbound and westbound direction. Nelson Street is a local street per the California Road Systems map, and Fairgrove Avenue is a major collector road. There are no crosswalks currently at this intersection, and parking is allowed on both sides of the street except segments marked with red curb. As part of this review, we looked at collision data from Switters over a 3-year period between January of 2022 through June of 2025, and found that there was 2 collisions reported during that time period at this intersection. Additionally, a site visit was completed on Tuesday, June 24th of 2025. Also, as part of this review, we collected average daily traffic, or ADT, counts on Tuesday, May 6th of 2025 along both Fairgrove Avenue and Nelson Street. Along South Nelson Street, it was found that in the northbound direction there was 573 vehicles per day, 685 vehicles per day in the southbound direction, for a total of 1,258 vehicles per day. Along Fairgrove Avenue, it was found that there was 1,584 vehicles in the eastbound direction, 1,761 vehicles in the westbound direction, for a total of 3,345 vehicles along Fairgrove Avenue. Additionally, a 24-hour speed survey sample was taken on Tuesday, May 6th of 2025. From this, the 85th percentile speed was found to be 34 miles per hour, and the posted speed limit along the segment is 35 miles per hour. Additionally, as part of the review, we did take a look at the line of sight for the intersection, and additionally reviewed the guidelines for all-way stop, since that was part of the request. It should be noted that it didn't meet any of the thresholds for an all-way stop. Now, based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines and guidelines found in the CAM UTCD and CVC, the location at Fairgrove Avenue and Nelson Street does not qualify for the installation of all-way stop control at this time. However, the stop bar along Nelson Street may be adjusted so that it is slightly closer to the intersection with Fairgrove Avenue. This would allow vehicles to stop closer to the intersection and inch forward to see oncoming traffic from both eastbound and westbound directions. The recommendations are to install cross-traffic does not stop plaque and red reflective posts underneath the existing stop sign located along Nelson Street. Install stop ahead sign and pavement markings on the east side of Nelson Street. Refresh the existing red curb that is located along the south side of Fairgrove Avenue west of Nelson Street. Refresh and extend the existing red curb that is located along the south side of Fairgrove Avenue east of Nelson Street, and to extend the existing red curb to be a total of 75 feet of red curb. Adjust and angle the stop bar to allow vehicles to stop closer to the intersection. Relocate the existing stop bar pavement legend along the northbound direction of Nelson Street at Fairgrove Avenue to be closer to the intersection. Extend the double yellow center line to reach the location of the stop bar pavement marking on Nelson Street for northbound travel. And to remove and replace faded curb warning sign and advisory 35-mile-per-hour speed limit signs.
So everything but the number 5 and 6 were already approved last month.
Okay. So as Jana noted, everything, the other recommendations except 5 and 6 were approved last month. So we would just be discussing 5 and 6, which is the adjust and angle stop bar to allow vehicles to stop closer to the intersection, and relocate the existing stop bar pavement legend along the northbound direction of Nelson Street and Fairgrove Avenue to be closer to the intersection. And I believe 7 too.
Yes,
And 7 as well, which is to extend the double yellow center line to reach the location of the stop bar pavement markings on Nelson Street for northbound travel. Okay, we don't have any comments from the audience on this item. Are there any comments from the committee members?
No.
All right, we can go ahead to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0, item passes. Excellent. We'll go ahead and start our third item, which is the traffic review of South Pima Avenue between South Bandy Avenue and East Stewart Avenue. And for this, the resident is requesting a traffic review of South Pima Avenue between South Bandy Avenue and East Stewart Avenue for the installation of parking tick marks along the segment to help residents use the parking spaces more efficiently. For the existing conditions along this segment, it is a local road with a 25-mile-per-hour prima facie speed limit. The roadway is 40 feet in width with one direction, 20 feet wide lane of travel in each direction. On-street parking is allowed along for both directions except on street sweeping days. And adjacent to this segment are apartment complexes on the west side. Additionally, as part of this request, collision data was obtained from Switters over approximately a 3-year period between January of 2022 through July of 2025. From this review, it was found that there was one collision reported to the Switters during that time period. Additionally, a field visit was conducted and site photos were taken on Friday, July 25th of 2025. And land use along South Pima Avenue between East Stewart Avenue and South Bandy Avenue is shown, which shows the apartment unit or apartment complexes along this segment. So the recommendation for the installation of parking ticks is shown here, which would show the amount of parking that would be allowed with the implementation of parking ticks along the segment. Now, based on engineering judgment and warrants found in the CAM, UTCD, and CVC, it was determined that the segment of South Pima Avenue between Bandy Avenue and East Stewart Avenue qualifies for the installation of parking tick marks due to the high demand of parking spaces and sufficient road width. And the recommendations are to refresh the existing 20 feet of red curb located on the west side of South Pima Avenue, north of the alleyway exit. Installation of parking ticks with 8-foot width and 20-foot length along both sides of South Pima Avenue where parking is allowed. Installation of 20 feet of red curb along the east side of South Pima Avenue at the intersection with Bandy Avenue. Installation of 20 feet of red curb along the west side of South Pima Avenue at the intersection with East Stewart Avenue. And installation of 5 feet of red curb along the west side of South Pima Avenue, north of the driveway located on 158 South Bandy Avenue. And let's see, I do not believe there's any comments from any audience members on this item.
And I'd like to explain.
Oh, go on, Gina.
Yeah, just so you understand, when we went out and did a field observation, that this area is heavily multifamily. So parking is at a premium. And even during the middle of the day, it was packed, and that they found that a lot of cars were parking, I want to say big, like they'd park in the middle of a space where maybe only 6 feet behind them on front of them, where if they'd moved up or back, then maybe another car could have parked, but they're parking this way. And that our person who went out there talked to some residents. I mean, it's from the residents, and they said that people usually park that way, so in the evening, they can back up or go forward with their car and allow someone that they wanted to park behind them. So this was an idea, parking ticks. Now, the only downside of parking ticks is that it's a standard size. So we usually go with 20 feet, 8 feet wide, 20 feet length. So where you don't have ticks, maybe if they're parking properly, if you have a small car, several small cars could fit, you know, if they squeeze in tighter, they could probably get more cars. But if that's not happening, then the only alternative is to put the parking ticks on the street. This way, everybody has a fair shake. They have to stay in their aligned parking spot.
Alrighty. I don't believe there's any other comments from audience members. Are there any comments from the traffic committee members?
Yeah.
I do have a question. Obviously, sorry, my first meeting.
Yeah.
You asked about implementation. Now, is this something that Public Works is expected to implement?
The direction we received previously was for new items like this, it would go through the engineering to be implemented. The refreshing of the red curb would go through Public Works, but the implementation of the parking ticks and the new red curb, I believe, would also go through Public Works. So it would just be the parking ticks that would be handled by engineering with the previous direction we were provided.
Understood. Thank you. That helps. Obviously, just the concern of getting it done in a timely manner. If we approve this and getting it done and getting it to the residents is very important. And I have a feeling if we do this here and it works, it'll lead to more. And I don't know if maintenance can stay on top of our red curb and our regular maintenance, stop, lags, crosswalks, and add these, because it will be time consuming. So if that's going to be part of a project, thank you for answering my question.
So it'll still have to go to council for approval, and then it goes to the queue.
Understood.
Any other comments from committee members on this item? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty. Let's go ahead and start our fourth item, which is the traffic review of East Walnut Creek Parkway between South Glendora Avenue and South Lark Ellen Avenue. For this request, the resident is requesting traffic calming measures to be installed along the segment of East Walnut Creek Parkway between South Glendora Avenue and South Lark Ellen Avenue. The resident reported that drivers tend to speed along this segment of Walnut Creek Parkway, and in some instances, drivers run through the all-way stop intersection at Walnut Creek Parkway and Pima Avenue. The resident requested for traffic calming measures, including stop pavement markings, max speed 25-mile-per-hour pavement legends, and speed humps to be implemented along East Walnut Creek Parkway. For the existing conditions at this location, the posted speed limit along East Walnut Creek Parkway is 25 miles per hour. East Walnut Creek Parkway is designated as a local road per the Caltrans road classification system map. The street is 40 feet in width with one 12-foot wide lane of travel in each direction divided by a dashed yellow center line and has 8 feet wide parking lane on each side of the street. On-street parking is additionally allowed on both sides of the street within that 8-foot wide parking lane. Collision data was additionally obtained from Switters and the California Crash Record System along East Walnut Creek Parkway between South Glendora Avenue and South Lark Ellen Avenue over approximately a 3.5-year period between January 2022 through July of 2025. And from this review, it was found that there was 5 collisions reported along this segment. Additionally, as part of the review, average daily traffic data was obtained from counts taken on Wednesday, December 7th of 2022. And from this, the counts came back with 933 vehicles per day in the eastbound direction, 966 vehicles per day in the westbound direction, for a total of 1,899 vehicles per day along the segment. Additionally, a 24-hour speed survey was conducted on Wednesday, December 7th of 2022. The 85th percentile speed came back at 35 miles per hour, and the posted speed limit along this segment is 25 miles per hour. Additionally, a field visit was conducted and site photos were taken on Friday, July 25th of 2025. Since this request included a review of, for speed humps, we did review the requests or the existing conditions against the city's speed hump policy. And now, based on engineering judgment and following the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines found in the CAM UTCD and CVC, it has been concluded that East Walnut Creek Parkway between South Glendora Avenue and South Lark Ellen Avenue is not being recommended for the installation of speed humps at this time. Given that this is the first traffic review performed on this segment of East Walnut Creek Parkway, it is recommended to start by implementing level 2 traffic calming measures per city policy. In this case, if the speeding issue persists after the installation of the recommended level 2 measures, the resident may reapply for the speed humps and submit a speed hump petition. At this time, the segment of East Walnut Creek Parkway qualifies for the following recommendations. And the recommendations are to remove and replace all 3 faded stop signs at the intersection of Walnut Creek Parkway and Pima Avenue. Replace the missing stop ahead warning signs for eastbound traffic along Walnut Creek Parkway approaching Pima Avenue. Replace stop ahead warning signs for westbound traffic along Walnut Creek Parkway approaching Pima Avenue. Remove and replace damaged stop sign located on the southwest corner of the intersection of Walnut Creek Parkway and Lark Ellen Avenue. Remove and replace stop ahead warning sign for westbound traffic along Walnut Creek Parkway approaching Glendora Avenue. Remove and replace faded/damaged 25-mile-per-hour speed limit signs and radar enforced plaques located along the segment. Install 25-mile-per-hour pavement markings along Walnut Creek Parkway adjacent to the existing 25-mile-per-hour speed limit signage. Install all-way plaques and red reflective strips on all 3 stop signs located at the intersection of Walnut Creek Parkway and Pima Avenue. Install missing stop ahead warning signs located on the south side of Walnut Creek Parkway, east of Ashwood Street, and install new stop ahead pavement legends for westbound traffic along Walnut Creek Parkway, and to install those pavement legends on the south side of Walnut Creek Parkway. I don't believe we have any audience member comments on this item. Are there any committee member comments? Oh, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Just want to add on, I go through that street a lot of times, and it is a, I guess, common artery for people to get quickly out of that Glendora corridor. So I think the speeding that I've seen most of the time is going west to east. rather than the other way. But I'm just going to reiterate, it is a problem area.
I don't believe we have any other audience comments. Are there any committee member comments?
Did we consider, in terms of the different levels, moving up to potentially speed humps, as possibly something to try, the flashing LEDs on the stop signs? Would we consider that at the intersection there of Walnut Creek and Pima? And then on the Walnut Creek approaches to Pima, would this be a candidate location for the rumble strips that we're trying at other locations? So those are only two things that I think could enhance, if it's appropriate in terms of the levels working up to speed humps, that at least we should consider those, but maybe for the next step, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're trying to, well, we thought that we would try the ones where we're going to replace all the faded, update all the signage so that it's more visible. And if that doesn't work, then yes, they would be able to qualify for level 3, which is the flashing stop or the speed humps, whichever, or rumble strips at this point.
So that's the next.
That's kind of the next step. The rumble strips, because it's in a residential area, it does have impacts with sound, so it's kind of like a speed hump. We would need to have some neighbor approval. So if that's the way we want to go for the next one, then they can, we can see. What we need to do is to take new counts, because these were older counts, so see what it is right now, 2025, and then see what it comes back at and see what would be most appropriate at that time.
Agreed that this corridor, does have issues, and Pima and Walnut Creek Parkway are a spot that we replace stop signs, but none of them are to the level of South Glendora and Walnut Creek Parkway. I mean, that sign goes out not on a weekly basis, but pretty close. Is there anything being considered at South Glendora, hanging flashing red lights, anything of that nature? Or would that be a next step to the next level as well?
Don't we have flashing
Yeah,
stop signs?
Yeah, we recently implemented flashing stop signs. It's that design of the intersection, if I'm not mistaken, has those medians stop
Correct.
signs which get hit. Same with Merced and Walnut Grove. There's a
Shadow
couple-
Oak
Yeah.
and Stephanie, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I believe when we looked at that, I'd have to look back at the diagram to see what was implemented there. We haven't reviewed it for overhead, like you said, kind of flashing signals, things like that. We looked at it originally with the flashing stop signs. I know, again, with those stop signs in the median, it's kind of a repeat issue throughout the city where those are implemented. We have implemented measures like reflective items we put at the base of them for other areas to try bring additional awareness for drivers at night traveling along the segment. I don't recall off the top of my head if those were implemented there.
They were, in the two intersections you discussed, Merced and there, we're still having the same problems with the reflective
Even with
poles
it, yeah.
and signs. The lighted signs obviously are on the corners, but not in the middle,
Yeah.
which would be costly. One a week, it would get a little expensive, but I was just curious about that because, we thought it might be time. We've talked internally in Public Works about looking at alternatives for Glendora, and we thought the hanging flashing lights might help, but I was just curious.
So does the I guess the stop sign to the left that's getting knocked down, is there a raised median at the location?
There's a raised
Correct.
median at the location, and like I said, at both north and southbound, it gets takeout regularly.
Right, so would increasing the width on the raised median help kind of keep traffic further away from the stop sign, or are they just jumping the median altogether?
I don't want to speak on the width of the street because I don't know how much more we could widen it.
Sure.
I don't think it would have an impact.
That wouldn't solve the
Yeah,
problem.
I'm not 100% positive, and
Sure.
we can look at that as well, but they seem to go over it pretty regularly.
Right, okay.
Are there any additional comments from committee members on this item? All right, we can go ahead and go to a vote for this one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alrighty, item passes 3-0. We'll go ahead and start our fifth item, which is the traffic review of South Bubbling Well Road between East Truman Place and South Silver Birch Place. For this request, the resident is requesting the installation of speed humps in front of 1041 South Bubbling Well Road, located between East Truman Place and South Silver Birch Place. For the existing conditions along this segment, South Bubbling Wells Road is a 25-mile-per-hour prima facie speed limit road. It is classified by the California Road System Functional Classification Map by Caltrans as a local road with single-family residential land around it. The roadway is 30 feet in width with one 15-foot wide lane of travel in each direction. Parking is allowed on both sides except for locations marked with red curb as well as on street sweeping days. As part of this review, collision data was obtained from Switters over a period of approximately 3.5 years between January 2022 through July of 2025, and it was found that there was no collisions reported along this segment during that period. Additionally, ADT data was obtained from counts taken on Tuesday, December 6th of 2022. From this, it was found that there was 117 vehicles per day in the northbound direction, 106 vehicles per day in the southbound direction, for a total of 223 vehicles per day along the segment in both directions. Additionally, a 24-hour speed survey was conducted on Tuesday, December 6th of 2022, and the 85th percentile speed was found to be 26 miles per hour, and this is a prima facie speed limit road, so 25 miles per hour is the speed limit along this segment. Additionally, a site visit was conducted on Friday, July 25th of 2025. And since this request was for speed humps, we did review the existing conditions against the city's speed hump policy. And based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina Traffic Request Guidelines, City Speed Hump Policy, guidelines found in the CAM, UTCD, and CVC, it has been concluded that South Bubbling Wells Road between East Truman Place and South Silver Birch Place does not meet criteria for installation of speed humps at this time. According to the City of West Covina Speed Hump Policy, qualifying streets must have a critical speed or 85th percentile speed of 35 miles per hour above and a minimum average daily traffic or ADT of 500 vehicles per day. From the data that was collected, the critical speed recorded along the segment is 26 miles per hour. And the ADT data collected was recorded to be 223 vehicles, which is below the minimum volume required of 500. Additionally, this segment of South Bubbling Wells Road extends for approximately 750 feet and ends in a cul-de-sac, only serving approximately 35 houses. For these reasons, this segment of South Bubbling Wells Road does not qualify for the installation of speed humps. However, the street does qualify for the following traffic calming measures, which include the installation of 25 speed limit signage for southbound traveling vehicles approximately 150 feet north of the intersection with South Silver Birch Place, and the installation of 25 pavement legend for southbound traveling vehicles approximately 150 feet north of the intersection with South Silver Birch Place. I do not believe we have any audience comments on this item. Are there any comments from the committee members on this item?
Was any type of curve ahead warning sign looked at? Is it justified given it's such a short cul-de-sac to begin with? There's not a lot of homes, but it is a 90-degree turn.
Down at Truman, when it gets down, because
Right,
it's like
so as
the
you're- as you're
cul-de-sac,
going
yeah.
south, and you have the 90-degree turn there to Truman, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could include that, we didn't look at it because there weren't any accidents.
Right.
So, and that wasn't one that the resident had complained about,
Sure.
and it was dumps into a cul-de-sac. But I
Right.
mean, we could consider that if we feel it's a
And then
issue.
maybe put the advisory, the lower advisory speed,
Mhm.
so it's
20.
25 technically, so maybe it's 15
Mhm.
going through the curve.
Ready? So if the committee wants to vote on it, the item right now, if there's no additional comments, so this item standing right now will be for the installation of the speed limit signage, installation of the 25 pavement legend, installation of a curb ahead warning sign with speed advisory sign. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item passes 3-0. So that concludes our new traffic committee items. We do have an audience comment on items not on the agenda. Maria? Go ahead.
Thank you for hearing me out. So I'm curious on a proposed development at Del Norte, the Del Norte school site. Curious to know if the city proactively looks at the traffic that would be generated by adding 282, units. We're looking at just some numbers here. Approximately 282 units would bring about 931 people to that area. Have you guys seen the proposed? Okay, so you're familiar with it. So it looks like they're proposing for Del Norte Street to push out to Sunset, doing some analysis at 1.8 vehicle per unit. Looks like 508 vehicles, approximately maybe 1,692 vehicle trips per day. That's a lot of traffic for that area. I'm just wondering, do you guys do a proactive study on that, or is that part of the process?
Yeah, it doesn't come to traffic committee, it comes to planning, and Miriam's
Okay.
group would see that, and I have reviewed the first part of it, and they are gonna have to do a traffic study.
Okay.
What the results are, we don't know yet, so.
Okay, so that hasn't happened
No,
yet.
not that,
Not yet.
Okay, so what do I want to say, the proactive is on the planning side, and then when the neighbors get upset. they get
well,
on the
it's
traffic
always,
side.
when you have a large development, it's always, they always look at traffic.
Okay,
It's one of the pieces of the component. You know,
Right.
Noise, air, all of that is looked at.
okay,
So now you have to remember that traffic is now VMT for impacts, vehicle miles traveled. So it's a little different than before, it was level service.
okay,
City still has the ability to ask them to do a level service, to look at certain intersections, but it's not considered mitigation impacts, it's considered local impacts. So for CEQA purposes, it's VMT.
okay,
So
but this one had that negative mitigation declaration, so I guess.
neg deck thing,
it
I
just-
don't know, yeah, I haven't seen
Okay,
that yet. So I'm sure it'll be coming to
Okay.
the process with planning and going
Okay.
through those steps.
perfect, thank you.
Alrighty. I don't believe there's any additional audience comments on items on the agenda. So are there any committee members' comments on items on the agenda?
No.
Okay, I'll go ahead and adjourn this month's meeting. The one thing I did want to note is the next month's meeting will be switching times and locations. So moving forward, the traffic committee meetings will be held on the third Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. within the community room, which is located directly outside the council chambers. So our next meeting will be the third Wednesday in September at 6 p.m. in the community room. Thank you.